I am super excited for today's episode. This is a topic that we discuss daily between the two of us on our voice notes. So I'm really keen to get into it. So today we are going to just have a chat of, the different diets and how it has played a role in our lives and our thoughts on it and the latest trends. And we just got dive deep into it.
I want to immediately just jump in and say, I remember being, I think it was grade 6. And I remember which was when I went on my first diet. And the teacher saying, who of you are on a diet? And I was like seconds away from putting up my hand. I know. And she then went into explaining that she was talking about the way that you eat. So not being on a particular diet, she was referencing the diet that you have, the diet that you maintain. And there's such the stigma of the word diet. You lose the understanding of what it means to you just think diet culture.
Yeah.
And I already thought that as a 11-year-old.
Exactly. Losing weight.
Exactly. You eat a certain way with a goal in mind. So today we're kind of just going to talk about both sides of that coin. So the ways that we have eaten, the ways that we eat, and the ways that society talks about diet culture.
I would like to know your history on dieting. I would like to know, as you just mentioned, you went on your first diet when you were 12 years old. Can you explain to me how you started your first diet, what you did up until today?
Just in terms of the diets that I've had. And again, I don't mean the losing weight diet. I just mean the different ways that I've eaten. I have generally always veered towards a more vegetarian diet. I was never a big meat eater. In South Africa, we have braais, which I hate to say barbecue, but that's what it is.
Yeah.
And so I would eat the meat that was braaied or barbecued, but I was never someone that cooked meat, cooked chicken, and I always would choose the healthier option. So growing up would have like the muesli and the rice cakes and the green tea with the goal of this will help me lose weight. I remember like even going to a restaurant and I would go to the salad bar, and I genuinely liked going to the salad bar. I didn't want to have the burgers. I didn't want to have the meat part of it. So I genuinely did like to have the salads. And I would always choose the healthier option just because I wanted to be thinner or to feel like I was closer to losing weight, without ever understanding what I was doing. So drinking 20 cups of green tea, I mean, not ideal, but it'll make you lose weight. Okay.
Yeah.
And then in about 2015, I started watching some of those documentaries, the Cowspiracy, I forget the names of the others, but I started watching those and was completely repulsed by what I saw. And because I had always veered towards a more vegetarian approach, it was easy to think of being a vegetarian or vegan. And so I started, I'm going to be a vegan. And I managed for not very long, a few days maybe, before I got drunk and ate a hot dog.
As you do.
I was then like, oh, well, I failed. I can't be a vegan, so now I'm just not going to be a vegan. And then I lived on the diet of apples and peanut butter, wine, sparkling water, and Oros.
For those of you who don't know, Oros is basically like Kool-Aid. Like it's It's like a syrup that you mix with water.
Oh, so gross. But yeah, that was my diet. My best friend and roommate at the time, we made dinner in the 2 years that we lived together maybe 5 times, because we just drank a lot, but we never cooked. We never cooked.
Mm.
And then moving to Switzerland, where the meat isn't that great, and I finally was able to stop eating meat. I again tried to do the vegan thing, but living with someone who was never going to jump on the bandwagon, he was never going to stop eating meat, it made it a bit difficult to do the vegan thing. So the vegetarian lifestyle was a lot easier, and it was manageable, and I didn't struggle, and it was easy, and I did that for 6 years.
Yeah.
And then it was when, after I had the kids, I started to think about what I was going to do with them. Am I going to give them meat? Am I going to cook meat for them? How am I going to do this? Because I don't eat meat. And at the same time, I was also doing more weight training and using heavier weights and learning about the importance of protein. And I know that it is totally possible to do those kinds of weight training exercises, or there are vegan athletes who live on a vegan diet, but they are monitoring it and like doing it professionally. And
there's also a lot of preparation that goes into that.
Absolutely. I was in no way measuring how many chickpeas I was consuming, or like how much protein I was getting from peas or something like that.
Exactly.
So, and I just didn't have the capacity or even the want to do that. And so it was last year that I started toying with the idea of like eating meat again. And it wasn't because I didn't like the taste. Obviously, I enjoyed the taste of the meat. I just always thought that it was the unhealthy option. And then last year I started eating chicken again, and it was a very weird, surreal, it was a very weird moment. And I think you'll say the same. And then my husband afterwards was like, how was that? I was like, finger licking good. Like, really? And chicken was then kind of like the gateway meat, because after that I was like, well, I did always eat fish when I was vegetarian. So that's kind of my eating journey. And yours is somewhat similar, but also very different.
Yeah, mine, it's quite similar, but there's also a couple of differences. I think the first time I went on a diet was a little bit later. I think I was around 15, but it was for a different reason initially. So the reason why I went on my first diet, I struggled with migraines a lot when I was that age. And I went to the doctor, and the doctor put me on medication. I'm not completely sure what this medication was not meant for migraines, but it also helped for migraines. So I think you call that like a white label medication. Like it's actually meant for something else, but you can use it for migraines. So anyway, one of the side effects of this medication was that there's a loss of appetite. So obviously back then you wouldn't think healthily, you would just think, awesome, I'm going to lose weight while I'm on this medication. I was 15. So I was in grade 9. And I can remember this was 2 months before the December holiday. So that was like the best news ever for me, because that's, like my Kickstarter on getting a bikini body for summer. And back then I can remember those Kellogg's Special K ads were also a massive thing on TV. So they basically promoted eating 2 bowls of Kellogg's a day, and then, like a bland meal in the evening. So I was like, okay, well, I don't have an appetite anyway, so why don't I just do that? And then maybe instead of eating the bland meal, I'll just eat like some steamed veggies in the evening. So long story short, I ended up losing 10 kilograms in 2 months. when I was 15. And I obviously loved it. I loved it. And I quickly realized that it wasn't sustainable, because by February the next year, I started picking up all of that weight again because I wanted to drop the medication. So I was off the medication, started picking up the weight again, picked up more weight than I lost. And then obviously your mind starts thinking, okay, how am I going to lose this weight again? So then the cabbage soup diet was introduced, and I basically did the cabbage soup diet. This week I'll do it, next week I won't. The next week I'll do it again, and then the one after I won't. And it was just like a constant yo-yo, constant. So I think very early in my life as well, yo-yo dieting was introduced. So I was just always thinking, how am I going to lose the weight? And then I pick up the weight again, and then how am I going to lose it again? And that went on throughout my high school career. And then obviously when you go to college, where we met, you tend to pick up a lot of weight as well, which I did. All you do is party and drink and eat, because you completely lose all of your inhibition. All of the good habits go out of the window. So then by the time I was 20, I realized that I was just feeling tired all of the time. I was tired all of the time. And I mean, in hindsight, I think it's probably because I was drinking too much.
Hungover.
Yeah, we were hungover. But I started thinking of things that I could cancel out in my diet. So the last thing on my mind was to drop meat. And the only reason for that is, like you mentioned, it's so in our culture to eat meat. Even if you are not a meat lover, it's just so part of our culture. So yeah. I did not want to be the odd one out that could not go to braais/barbecues. So meat wasn't even in my mind. So I dropped gluten, couldn't feel a difference. I dropped dairy, couldn't feel a difference. Then I dropped red meat. And as soon as I dropped red meat, I realized, okay, I feel quite different. Like I've got more energy. And then not long after that, I just ditched all meat. And I felt good. I really felt good. But I still didn't feel the way I wanted to feel exactly. And then veganism came in. And I dabbled with veganism for a very long time, like on and off. But it started as well in 2015, which is probably the same time those documentaries came out. There was this girl on YouTube called Freely the Banana Girl. And I was absolutely obsessed with Freely the Banana Girl and Durian Ryder, who was her boyfriend. If I think back on it now, oh my word. But anyway, I loved them. And they were like fruitarians, basically. And I wanted to become a fruitarian because I wanted to be like Freely the Banana Girl. And it was just completely unsustainable. Like I couldn't do it at all. So went back to vegetarianism. And then I had Savannah, my firstborn. And then after giving birth to her, I managed to stay vegan for 2 years. So until she was 2 years old, I was vegan. But yeah, it's just something that I couldn't do. So anyway, to cut a long story short, I also started eating meat again last year because I started feeling like my body was just not happy with me. There was definitely something that was missing. And I could see, warning signs. My hair felt dry. My nails felt brittle. I felt almost like dehydrated, like a prune. It's weird to explain, but like I just did not feel like I had all of the nutrients in my body that my body needed. Yeah, then I also started with meat last year again, and so far, so good.
And that's another thing that I wanted to talk about as well, is how at certain points in your life, something will be good for you. And then at another point in your life, it may not be good for you anymore. So before you had kids, your body was very different. Your needs were very different. And after having kids, what your body goes through. I mean, by this point, when you started eating meat again, you'd now had 2 pregnancies. One was with twins. And what that does to your body, it depletes it of so much. I mean, this life has been sucked out of you. And you're trying to play catch up again, like we were saying in the last episode, on so little sleep. And you know your body best. Like, you know, no one else lives in your body and knows what you're feeling. So you know, oh, something's not right, and I'm needing something.
Exactly. And I think you hit the nail on the head with saying that your body feels depleted after like giving birth. And I really feel like, even though it was 2-3 years after having the twins, last year it felt like it just all started to come crashing down. Like I could feel it in my body. My body felt depleted. My body felt like it was not healthy anymore. So people who know me might think, wow, Melissa really changes her mind a lot, because I go from the one thing to the next. But I personally don't see it that way, because I just love to discover new ways of being healthy. I like to see what's going to work for me. And like you just said, it works at different times in your life, you know. So I feel like a lot of the stuff that I've done in the past did work for me, but then I outgrew it, you know, and it was time to tweak it again, you know.
Well, I mean, you just said like, oh, Melissa changes her mind so much, but you were just saying how you were so obsessed with Freely the banana girl, and who you were at that point when you were so obsessed with becoming a fruitarian. You've changed so much since then. Of course you're going to change your mind and change your diet and lifestyle accordingly, because you are no longer that person. You can't change and grow and then still have the same beliefs and mindset around certain things.
There's constantly more information coming out as well. So the thing is, it can also be, it's great. We've never had as much information as we have now, but it can also be extremely confusing. And I mean, that counts for everything in life, but let's just stick to diets right now. It's super confusing, because you just feel like, well, this person is saying that eggs are good, but that person says that eggs are like the devil, you know? So, and oats is amazing for certain people, but then other people, like the biohackers, they say that oats is peasant food. Obviously, we're going to keep trying new things, because we keep getting new information as well.
Yeah, totally. Having so much information so readily available so quickly. Do you want to know something? Boom, we get it quickly.
Yes.
Is not okay for our brain. But again, that's another whole topic. But having so much conflicting information, and I know you're like, you want to know all the information. I find something out, especially if it's a pretty colorful, appealing infographic, then I'm like, ooh, I like that idea, that works for me. I now no longer eat sugar unless it's straight after a meal, because that's what the glucose goddess says. And then like 3 days later I see a contradicting post, and I'm like, oh wait, what? So I really struggle with researching something, and I'm very quick to just believe and trust someone with what they're saying. I just immediately assume that they are so knowledgeable and they are telling me the truth, and that there is no ulterior motive. For some people that is true, and for a lot of people it's not. Then when I see these conflicting ideas, it means I have to go and research something, and I just get too overwhelmed. Just when I was starting to eat meat again, I was feeling super tired, which is also really hard to work out if it's because I have 2 small children, or if it's because there's something wrong with me. And I had blood tests as anemic, and I booked iron infusion. And that day I saw a post and then a podcast about how iron deficiency is a hope. And I was like, I cancelled my appointment and I didn't know what to do. And I didn't know what to do. And I just felt so conflicted. And I was like, well, I am starting to eat more meat. Maybe I don't need this. And so just to prove my point that there is so much information out there and everybody is different. No one is the same. Everyone's needs are different. So you have to take everything you read at surface value and really try and listen to your own body and your own needs, because what's good for...
It is hard though. It is hard. Like, I do feel if you are confronted with these things every single day, and obviously the algorithm also gets to know you. So the more you look at these things, the more things you're going to start seeing, which in my case is definitely true. And after a while, I just really get sucked into it. And I really take what they say as, that's the way it is. And it's not. And I think it took me how long? I mean, basically my whole life to understand that it's not a one size fits all type of thing, I mean, when I was so obsessed with Freely the Banana Girl, they basically preached that every single person can go vegan. Every single person would have the same results. Every single person will end up looking like her. And that's it. Like, I mean, you are guaranteed to get a body like she has. So, and I mean, to be honest, she's still out there doing that. So,
and then people maybe try that and fail, and then they feel like a failure, or they feel like they'll never be that. And then that sets off another spiral of like issues, because
exactly.
It doesn't work for that person. But that doesn't mean Freely the Banana Girl's good for her. She's, she can be Freely Banana Girl. That's not sustainable for most people.
No.
But also, you can't, making promises to people that, and I used to do that as well. When I started eating vegetarian, I would love telling my family how bad meat was for them. And you need to watch this documentary because you're filling your arteries with XYZ. Like, there's nothing more annoying than that. But I did that.
I did that too. And the thing is, I was a vegan Nazi at one point. Like, for me, it wasn't even about health anymore. For me, it was an ethical stance that I took. I started, without wanting to, but I started really judging everyone around me for eating the way that they do, and how dare they eat a living being, like, your body is a garden, it's not a graveyard. That's basically like I can't remember, but that's basically like what they used to preach. And just on that topic, like, to make it very clear, it still bothers me. I think it would bother you if you went so many years without eating animal products or without eating meat, to then go back to eating that. And it used to really piss me off when people are ignorant about the fact that they are eating a living being. I always used to say, like, how can you not think about that? You have to think about that. And now I kind of get it, because if my body feels like it needs it, I'm going to, just kind of play dumb, because I don't want to think about it, because I'll end up going back to that and I'm going to start feeling unhealthy again.
And it's so different now to the way we ate civilizations ago, where there was meat and you would eat the meat.
Yeah.
You had chickens, or people were hunting, and so you ate what you caught to survive. And now it's very different ways of acquiring food, and the way that food is handled, or how we get it. So we're aware of that, but we also have this need as a human to eat what we need to eat, but we also know what we know. and trying to like marry those two things, it's very difficult.
It is difficult. And the thing is, I think that can cause disordered eating as well, you know, because sometimes when I go into the kitchen, then I'm like, oh, I feel like that, oh no, but I can't have that. And then I'm like, okay, but I'm going to have this. Oh no, but I can't have that because that's bad as well. Or I shouldn't do this because they said that's not good for your body at this time of day, you know? So just to get back to like, you know, like the information that's being fed to us, it's not a one size fits all. And on that subject, I would like you to kind of touch on like bio-individuality.
That's something that I learned about when I was doing my course last year, my health coach course through IIN, the Institute for Integrative Nutrition. And the idea is just that, exactly that, everybody is different, everybody is unique, and everybody has their own set of needs and circumstances. Some people have disorders or health issues or concerns that causes them to not be able to eat certain things, or they need to eat certain things that may not align with a particular set of beliefs. Like some people maybe want to be vegan, but they can't be because they need, I don't know, XYZ. Everybody is different. And so with all this information at hand, which can be incredibly beneficial, you really, really have to try and block out all the noise and be in tune with what it is that you need and want, because some people thrive off eating tomatoes. Other people are allergic to tomatoes and they can't eat them. So you can't say you have to eat tomatoes all the time, or because just because something is deemed healthy, it doesn't mean that it is healthy for everyone. Everyone is completely different. And what you like, someone else won't like. And it also goes to deeming foods as good and bad. Food doesn't come with like a moral. It doesn't have a moral value. Food is food. It has a nutritional value, and it has more or less nutrition. We, as a society, have been told and now believe that something is bad or good for us. And then by consuming that makes us good or bad. So if I only eat salad today, I'm a good person. If I only eat cake today, which I have done, not today, but the other day, then I am a bad person. And then I internalize that and I feel shit about myself. And so it's also so important to not put pressure on ourselves around foods that have more or less nutritional value, and to rather make choices that are in line with what we want. So how do I want to feel? I want to feel a certain way. So then I'm going to choose foods that make me feel that way. And if there's a birthday or an occasion and there is a food that society, and even me, because I've been programmed to believe this, is bad, I want to be able to enjoy something without feeling like I've failed, or I'm a bad person, or I've made a bad choice because I've eaten the cake or the ice cream or the whatever. It's just another type of food that has less nutrition than homemade butternut soup. You know, it's not bad. You aren't bad. The food isn't bad. The food has nutrition, and it's what you choose to ingest.
I think a very good point that you just made is you should think about the way you want to feel. I've never really thought about it like that, but subconsciously I make that decision, you know, because I do know that if I'm going to eat something that's going to make me feel like shit, it's going to ruin my day. Like, I don't want to feel like shit, you know? So I would, you know, on purpose choose foods that will make me feel good. And those foods will obviously be the ones with a better nutritional value, you know? So it's better to look at it in that way rather than bad foods. It's just the nutritional value that it has and whether you want to feel good or not.
And you know how certain things are going to make you feel.
Exactly.
Yeah. And it's all about choice. It doesn't make it easier, but
No.
it's just also important to then not demonize yourself or make yourself feel like a failure if you have had something that doesn't align with how you want to feel, because we're all human. And there are situations in life where you're going to eat things that don't align with how you want to feel. So I during my course, I saw in one of the health libraries a list of the different types of diets that are sort of official. And I scrolled and scrolled and take a guess how many official, air quotes, diets there are. Guess a number. Just guess a number.
80.
155. 155.
Official.
I don't know if it's official, but on this list within my course was a list because we need to know as health coaches what types of diets are out there.
Yeah.
Some of them, and I'm just going to read through like the ones that popped out just because they are ridiculous.
Yeah.
So obviously there's like, I'm just going to start with this one because it's at the top of the list, like the Atkins diet. Like everyone has heard of that. Atkins diet. That one was popular.
Atkins is very 90s.
Yeah. All the celebrities were doing it like when we were at that like magazine era. I remember reading it in magazine.
Yeah.
The Biggest Loser diet. Remember that show?
There's a diet for it?
Well, it's what they did on the program. So like they had the diet that they stuck to on the program. So that's like one on there.
Be like the unsustainable diet, because most of the people end up picking up the weight right after the show.
Exactly. Also, did you ever watch that?
Yes, I did, and it was so freaking cruel.
Those people were mean.
I know. What was that woman's name? Jillian. Yeah.
Oh, was it Jillian?
Yes.
Oh my goodness, I didn't know she was on that. I couldn't remember. The Hallelujah diet, which was created by a reverend. The It's All Good diet by Goop Gwyneth Paltrow.
What is the It's All Good diet about?
It's All Good diet is basically like eat what makes you feel good, but don't eat all the bad things. And
that kind of sounds like us.
I know, but it's just like she made a business out of It's All Good diet.
Good on her.
Yeah, the dental diet, which is sort of linking mouth health, which with the rest of the bodily systems. The slow down diet, the cabbage soup diet, which you brought up for us. Thank you.
Woo!
How? This one, which just, I mean, how even it's on here. The breatharian diet, which is incredibly not even, I don't even know what the right word is, harmful, which basically is just about breathing. And it says foods to avoid all. Cons: can lead to starvation, dehydration, death, social alienation, and it's dangerous. Like basically people just believe that they can be fed by prana, which is the vital life force in Hinduism. So I also believe that sunlight fuels them. I do believe that sunlight does fuel you, but
it fills you in a different way. It doesn't fill your stomach.
It's crazy. The diets don't work diet, the dorm room diet, the kind diet, the SAD diet, which stands for the Standard American Diet, and it basically says eat foods to avoid, none, eat everything.
Like, that's why it's sad.
Just like the most. I couldn't believe that I counted 155. I couldn't believe I was still counting. You have in your young number of years had a number of concoctions that you have tried. I've tried a number of concoctions, but I know that there is no one I know who has tried as many concoctions. And I want you to tell us about your.
So you think it's incredibly funny how I just jump on the latest concoctions, and I am a sucker for a home remedy. Let me tell you, I freaking love it.
I was as well, but not to, like, I remember putting honey on my face, and like I would make eyebrow masks or like put stuff on my hair.
Oh, that's for a wussy. I take it up a notch. So I feel like I've always been like this, though. I've always loved any type of home remedy. And I love the idea that whatever you use as, whatever you use in your beauty routine, if you can eat it, it's great. So just like you said now, you put honey on your face or avocado or egg in your hair. Those things I used to do as well when I was young, because I know obviously those are like, age-old remedies.
Yeah.
But recently there is a couple of new things that I've been doing, which I absolutely love and which I completely believe in. One of the things that I've been doing lately, which you think is very funny, is Shayna's morning elixir, which is the olive oil and lemon juice in the morning. And it's freaking good. I love it. Well, Gemma said I should just start drinking my own urine if I do that, but
I didn't say that.
Oh no, you said what's next? You said what's next? Urine?
Are you going to drink your own pee next?
Yeah. Okay, that's what you said. And then this one is not as out there, but it's one that I really, really believe in, and that's celery juice. So I started with celery juice probably 4 years ago, and I have not looked back since. I am a little bit depro at the moment because we moved countries and I don't have my juicer with me at the moment. So I'm really missing my celery juice. But that's one I know that you love as well. So you do believe in celery juice.
It's just a bit of a mission to make, but yes, when I am feeling in the zone, then yes, I do like to drink it without the
celery juice. I love it. There's been like out there ones that I've done before. I remember it was probably like 10 years ago. I wanted to do a detox. So first thing I did was go on Google, and I got this remedy for, I think it was like a liver detox or something. And basically what it was 2 whole onions, 8 garlic cloves or something like that, 3 lemons with the skin. So you chuck that into the juice as well, and then I think some cayenne pepper, and then you drink that. I cannot say on here what happened, but
were you? Oh,
it was. It was bad. It was a proper detox. So that was one of the most out there ones because it was disgusting but highly effective. And then other things that I like that I think normal people don't like is stuff like bone broth, kombucha. I used to always brew my own kombucha, which is something I love. I boil rice and then I take the starch water and I put it in my hair. Wow. So that's another one.
I really appreciate the effort that you go to. Like I just don't. Like I wish I could be that invested. I just can think of. I just don't have the capacity or the energy to like follow through with like pouring rice. I just couldn't.
Part of the reason why I also want to do those things, and especially now, is because of all of the shit that you get in store-bought products, and getting, the natural stuff. It's not always very accessible, and even if it is, it's very, very costly. So it gives me a kick to be able to make my own stuff. And especially, this will be a completely different episode, but to kind of get your hormones rebalanced again. Like the shit in store-bought products really disrupts your hormones. So it gives me a bit of a kick to be able to, do home remedies, and I like that.
You need to see if you can get that Yuka app in Portugal, because that is, I use it, I still use it. I mean, I pay for it because it is my favorite app to use. Like, I like crouch on the floor in the shops and like scan every barcode to see what the rating is. And if it's not green, then I won't buy it. Because it tells you what's in there, and it's scary. Like, you can't pronounce half the things, and it tells you underneath it's an endocrine disruptor, or it does this, or it inhibits this, and you're like, whoa, that's just shampoo? What?
Yeah, exactly. And the thing that pisses me off the most is the fact that most of these things are labeled as natural or bio or
when my mom was visiting, she ran out of shampoo and conditioner, and so she asked me to give her some of mine. And so I gave it to her, and she's like, what kind of shit is this? Like, why is this terrible? Why are you giving me your crappy stuff? I'm like, that's the nice one. What are you talking about? I said, it's even, it's all healthy. It's not going to do anything wrong. It's got no harmful products. She's like, I need the harmful products to make my hair good. She's like, I don't care.
Because usually those things don't foam. So you feel like, okay, like I'm not actually cleaning my hair.
Yeah. So it's very scary. It's very scary what is in the product. And so this app has been super helpful just to see, like in deodorant as well. It's like you scan every single deodorant. You're like, there are no options.
Can you please just spell out the app's name to our listeners?
It's called Yuka. I know you can't get it in South Africa, but it's Yuka.
Okay.
Yeah, I love it. I think there are versions. There are different kinds of.
Yeah, there are similar ones.
Oh, quickly, tell them about your tanning concoction, please, because that's one of my favorites. We used to be really tanned, and I used to tan with like coconut oil and 0 SPF because I heard that made you bronze. But you took it a step further.
Well, I heard some different things because I used olive oil and balsamic vinegar together. And apparently the balsamic vinegar would burn you, but then the olive oil would cancel it out and make you brown. So when I was like 17, 18, we used to tan with that, and we used to tan with shaving cream back in the day. Yes, shaving cream. I don't even know where this came about. Like, there must be some kind of chemical inside this shaving cream, and we did get burned to a crisp. And that's what we wanted. We will actually, after this episode, we will post some pictures of us very, very tanned back in the day so you can see. Honestly, I try and stay out of the sun as much as I can nowadays. Like, I try and not do it anymore as much.
Imagine if those versions of us had to see us now. They would be in disbelief.
Yeah, I don't think I would be proud. I would be like, what's wrong with you? You're such a granny.
Have a drink. Okay, guys, thanks so much for listening to today's episode. And we really enjoyed talking about health and diet. And please let us know what you enjoyed, and if there's anything else you'd like to hear us talking.
If you enjoyed this podcast, can you please give us a 5-star rating? And you can see the video version on YouTube and catch us for the audio version on Spotify.
Thanks so much for listening.
See you next week. Bye.
Bye.